it in some depth, and I'll point out that in my experience in the private sector, in the investments that I made, do it in some depth, and I'll point out that in my experience in the private sector, in the investments that I made, the firm, it was an investment that was made. Again, I wasn't running it. But this firm, it was an investment that was made. Again, I wasn't running it. But this poor.
What if President Obama goes after you as Gordon Gekko? Greed is good.
Of course he will, in part because he's been the great divider. Do it in some depth, and I'll point out that in my experience in the private sector, in the investments that I made, in the businesses I helped to build, our intent in every case was to either help people realize their dreams by starting a business or taking a business that was failing or underperforming and making it more successful. My business was not buying things, taking them apart, closing them down. My business was associated with trying to make enterprises more successful. Not always was I able to succeed, but in each case we tried to grow an enterprise, and in doing so, hopefully provide a better future for those that are associated with that enterprise.
Let's pick up on Bain, and where you worked for 25 years, and you say that's what sets you apart. You have worked in the real private sector, and you have created jobs. There have been some big successes. Staples, now you helped start it. They now employ 90,000 people. On the other hand, we saw that 4 of the 10 top dollar investments you made went bankrupt. Is that just the cost of doing business?
Well, it's not just a cost. It's the downside. It's the reality of what life is like in the private sector, which is that businesses that you invest in, those were not enterprises that I ran, of course, but
no.
but in businesses that you invest in.
GS Industries, Data International.
Right. Yeah, and a company like GS Industries, it was a group of steel mills, and I think we were an investor in that business for, I don't know, 8 years or so. It finally went bankrupt after I'd left the firm. It was an investment that was made. Again, I wasn't running it. But the